Episode 2, Flip Life Podcast.
We're back in the building.
Alright, how did we start last time? No, you started last time talking about Pyro. You was like, Pyro done, and that's just how the thing started. I didn't even tell you this. So Antonio hit me up.
Don't lie. What's man like Antonio?
Antonio was like, oh, bro, I just started watching your podcast and you're just talking about me for the first 6 minutes.
Shout out to my guy. Yeah, nah, Antonio, we didn't even go hard enough.
Nah, I said that, bro. I said we weren't going in though, and I was like, we're just explaining what we're doing, and then he was like, nah, I'm playing. Boom. He was like, gave me some advice on the sound and a couple like,
okay.
He was like, big up, well done.
Yeah, big up Antonio. Man.
You know what I'm saying, but so yeah, episode 1. We set things off. It made a bit more noise than I even thought it would, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. We got a lot of love from a lot of places.
A lot of love. What was the feedback? What was not necessarily the feedback? I got a lot of feedback and things to work on and stuff like that, which I think I noticed certain things as well. But what was the reception for you?
People were showing me love. People were just saying it's dope. They just wanted to see more. People were asking for it before it dropped as well. So certain people that had been asking were like, oh yeah, finally, that type of stuff.
Yeah. I guess people have been onto us for time, innit? So yeah, the YouTube thing is running. If anyone's listening to this on Spotify, I guess the most people watched it on YouTube, but it's now on Spotify, Apple Music. It took a minute for me to get on everything, but it's now on everything.
What's mad is you was dealing with other controversies. I was just dealing with feedback. Like people were like, no, I liked it. Blah, blah, blah. Some people was like, oh no, you need to talk about this. Some people like, no, small complaints. You was dealing with bare madness. I'm so glad I never had to deal with that side of stuff.
Well, we'll get into that. But I guess I say stuff in it. Like I say stuff that causes problems.
Yo, everyone, I want you to carry on with this policy of leaving me out. Leave me out. I'm not on it.
No one's coming.
I'm not in feed. Leave me out of it. Hold on Nova, call Nova, text Nova,
yeah, but
DM
you know what?
Nova.
The clips that I put up, I only put up like two, 3 little clips, and obviously they ended up being clips where I'm talking mostly because it's like something controversial I said. But it's not even them clips. Yeah,
let's carry on it like that.
I was trying to look for a clip from you, but back in the day when we was doing radio, you used to say some wild things. So I'm waiting for them things. And them clips. Do you know what? I was gonna post the Mel Gibson.
Man's media trading now. I was
gonna post the Mel Gibson thing where you said, Mel Gibson got
oh yeah.
Like he got forgiven for making Apocalypto or whatever. Is that correct? I've never seen that film, by the way.
That was just my opinion. I don't know if that's correct. I just like that film. That's when I forgave him. I don't know about other people with it. Other people forgave him for Passion of Christ. I don't know.
I ain't watched either of them 2 films. I realised that. I ain't watched either of them. Yeah. So yesterday I was almost about to watch Passion of Christ, and then I suddenly remembered what you said, and I was going to put Apocalypto on, but I didn't do it either.
Apocalypto's better than Passion of Christ. Don't crucify me.
I'm gonna watch them both, but never mind about that. So today we discussed like a more social issue topic last episode that was quite serious, and today we're going to take it back to the music because we come from a music scene. This is what we're known for. We can talk about that a bit more, I guess.
Yeah. So
I thought we'll ask, and there's a couple of reasons why I thought of this, but we'll get into it. But is UK hip hop dead?
Like it lived and now it's dead, or is it dead as in that's like dead music? Like what are you mean?
Yeah, like it lived and it's dead. I guess when they say is grime dead, that's what they mean as well.
Okay.
And
well, I don't know, man. Because when they say like genres dying, I don't know if I really ever co-sign that. So if it is, you know what I'm saying?
There was actually a comment from I think Teacham who said. We only say this about black music genres. We only ask this question about black music genres.
Yeah.
And I was like, bro, that's very interesting. And I couldn't really think of an example where we'd ask it about anything
I ain't gonna lie, indie music is dead. R.I.P. Yo, pour some liquor out.
No, I can't lie. There's a couple, like, I'd have to
name
ask.
the groups. Go ahead.
I'm gonna ask my daughter to tell you.
When I grew up,
I'm gonna ask my daughter to tell you.
It was nothing but 5 or 4 white boys, guitarists, and some...
Yeah, bands are dead, though.
Bands?
Even in hip-hop, though.
But there was only the Roots.
R.I.P.
Who were the other bands?
But groups, Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang is the greatest rock band of all time. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm saying R.I.P. Takeoff. Now, Migos was the only one. Like, in recent years,
there was like collectives, NBA, YSL, but they're not really groups. Yeah, I see you.
So anyway, I asked this question. There's a couple of reasons. I'll get into my politics and that, but I was having a beef of sorts with an old school legendary UK rapper, and not Rodney P, by the way, because I mentioned things on the last. Although I've got some things to address about Rodney P as well, but not him, someone else. I guess I'll get into it probably, but. And then I started talking to some of the older rappers, and we were talking about this whole situation and stuff, and they were just talking about things that went wrong and things why certain people are bitter or not doing this or not doing that. And I was like, okay. So there's many layers to this question. I am not a person who puts things into boxes and says UK hip hop, UK HH is this separate genre over here, which is like boom bap sounding hip hop music from a certain era. But that's what the fans did at a point.
Yeah.
So I feel like just going back to our history and all of that, we came into hip hop music in the hip hop scene in like the early 2000s. On like 99, we started doing shows and all of that. And there was a UK hip hop scene around at the time.
Yeah, shout out to Kung Fu, shout out to Task Force, and there's a lot going on, north, south, east.
There was a great time. Some people call it a golden era of UK hip hop. Other people will say there's a golden era. I said this on Hunt's Golden Era podcast. That other people say there's a golden era that was about in the 80s, which is I think when like the first people kind of started doing hip hop in the UK and were hitting the chart sometimes. Derek B, MC Duke, who I'm talking about. That's just and
Hunt's show is about a golden era. He's saying saying like 2004 to 2009.
Yeah, that's what his golden era of UK rap is, right?
Yeah.
So I said that on his thing that I feel like I came from a hip hop scene that they used to call it UK hip hop, and then they started calling it UK rap, and it's like these were two different worlds. That's just two different terms, but those were two different scenes being built by different people to a degree. And then there was a thing they used to say, I didn't think anyone used this term, but they used to say road rap as well at a certain time. Yeah. And I thought nobody used that term. I thought it was just the internet thing. But then I saw this, I mentioned it to you, that this Chucky Online podcast the other day, where they were doing some kind of like whole like table of who's the best top 20 UK rappers. And they had people from all of these different groups. And then they had Margs come on, and he was talking about their top thing. Yeah.
So they had already done a list, and then Margs came on later.
I think so. I think Margs came on another episode to follow it up. We'll get into that properly as well. But I'm only mentioning it for the point that he was making certain points about different people he didn't think made sense in the list, and they started using the term road rap. I think it was what's his name, Poet, that was saying, he was like, road rap. When you lot was doing like road rap, that was so big kind of thing. And I was like, okay. So to me, this question has mad layers. That UK hip hop to me can cover all of these things. It can be an umbrella term for all of these different things, right?
Yeah. But
I am also aware, and I'm one that goes, cool, grime is hip hop. I'm a person who says that drill is hip hop, whatever. But I'm aware there's an old school kind of following from before us and the time we were about, who hold a special place for something that they call UK hip hop, which they don't mean everything. They mean a specific scene.
Yeah.
So I was kind of asking it on that level. You know what I'm saying? As well as however you want to take it.
Now this the thing is, because I can say artists that are still doing that scene and still living and still got careers. Mm-hmm. And it's like some of the biggest artists from when I was young still drop music from that scene. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm saying? Obviously, it might not be popping like it was then. So I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's like when Nas brought out Hip Hop Is Dead album. I don't know, man. Is it? Like, I don't think so.
Yeah, but Nas knew it wasn't. He was just trying to instigate conversation, which I guess is what we've done.
And it's not really fair. I don't really be bumping UK hip hop now.
Yeah, but I bet he was back then.
Back then, I definitely was.
Yeah.
And so it's like, even now, when I bump UK hip hop, I bump it from back then.
But this is what I'm saying. This is why I'm like, cool. Forget that scene thing. That's why I don't, in day-to-day life, I don't treat it like that, because I bump loads of UK hip-hop. I bump like J Huss, I bump
you know what I'm saying?
whoever, I bump Unknown T, I bump, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think just I'm gonna give my opinion a bit earlier this time, just on a certain part of it, right? I think that UK hip-hop, quote unquote, that scene that they're talking about, died around 2006. Like when I was, and unfortunately that's when I was putting an album out for the first time, right? Or maybe 2007. Maybe it was dying then.
Was it because of Channel U and that?
Nah, well, Channel U started, and then it became, that built a new. That's what kind of maybe contributed to building a number of other kind of scenes. Yeah, but I think UK hip hop died with Kung Fu and with HFM closing, which happened both happened around 2007.
Yeah, they were the kind of like...
And it's like, since then, I mean, it still existed. Don't get me wrong, it still existed. Artists put out, like, from that scene still continued and whatever. But that is where everything split to me. It's when fans started going, oh, these guys over here are road rap. These guys over here are grime. These guys over here, you know what I'm saying? It's like it
but what...
the scene wasn't quite the same ever again.
Do you feel like... I don't know, because those two things, Itch and Kung Fu, was really prominent in North, but did like the South man like Scheme and Big P and them man, were they fully reliant on that as well?
That's an interesting question.
57th Dynasty and them man.
Obviously, 57th Dynasty, I don't know like how active they were towards the end of that part. Period, Big P and Scheme and all of them man. I continued seeing them do shows
for a while. Innit? That's what I'm saying.
I don't know where they at Kung Fu though. That's a good point, because obviously we're in North, but there was events like that in South. There was Deck Effects in South, which was a similar. Do you know what I'm saying? There were also events around that time, probably finished a bit earlier, that were going on in South. I guess,
out to Peaches hosting half the events in London.
Yeah, trust me. I guess we should let's just go to some of the comments on this conversation. But there's a number of things we've got to touch on today. So we've got some new stuff we're going to touch on. Yeah. We've got to touch on some issues from the last podcast.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happened.
And also, shout out to DJ Form, who used to be on HFM. Actually, I did a show with him on HFM for a while. And,
man, I need to get in the office for him and go on holiday.
Yeah, he sent me a list of the top 500 rappers, anyone who like has their music classified as hip-hop. Actually, that's what that's what the list is built from. I don't know the name of the app, but he's got some new app that he's trialing for PRS. That gathers all data from every streaming platform, Spotify, Apple, everything, YouTube, every social media platform, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, so how many followers they have, etc. And I think radio play as well. So it's like all of the data of anyone in the last 12 months who is listed as hip-hop online, and he's given me basically the top 500 rappers. So he saw me having this conversation online, was like, yo, I got something to help you. This is going to actually... So I think we get to that towards the end, but I've asked a couple questions online. So I've been like, cool, who do you think's in the top 10 in this list? And that's out of anyone of any scene. Obviously, it's going to be the popular kind of artists busting the pop charts and that now. But I also said, okay, from the traditional UK hip-hop scene that a lot of you like to separate as its own thing, who's still in this 500 list now, being played in the last 12 months? Because... it's interesting. I might have said nobody. Do you know what I'm saying? At a point, do you know what I'm saying? With how many rappers are out now, but there's a good few.
Yeah, people are showing love to some rappers in this list. So
yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna get to the original post.
Was that the one who is killing it in UK?
Nah. Because I wanted that's coming later. I just wanted to. I wanted to just make sure we shout out who's popping. There's one that just says, is UK hip-hop dead? So Billy Wiz Saint said, nah, it's still got a pulse. There's a short one there. Theodore Hopkinson said, pretty darn close. There's a few comments like that. Man like Lefty said, not dead, just on his deathbed. And this is the interesting one, right? So this, when you said like, has it was it alive and now it's dead? Some people just like, a few people have said like, when was it ever alive kind of thing. But so yeah, Liam Don Kofi said, I can't really remember a time when there was a vibrant UK hip hop scene. What rappers today would you consider hip hop? Obviously, that got me into my conversation that I consider all of them hip hop. But this is a different conversation. Brinks Barney said Strands, and this name kept coming up. Someone called Strands. I ain't heard them. Strands, he got next, and I don't even listen to UK music like that now. And I know he's a new artist, but obviously he must have a traditional kind of hip hop sound.
He's fire, man. He's fire. He's got his big singles. They use the same sample as "Live Long" by Capone and Noriega.
Okay.
And he's got Digga D on the remix of his big single.
Okay.
He's got a little like.
Well, Digga D rapping on them kind of beats as well.
It's like a I need to check
that. I need to check that.
But it's a big pop single. It could have been a Nines or a Fredo beat. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like to say no one is rapping on them type of beats.
Bones is making a point similar to what we've touched on a minute ago, but Danny Bones has said the traditional boom bap UK hip hop scene is well and truly dead. Hip hop from the UK has never been bigger than it is right now, though. This current scene, which evolved from the road rap scene, is dominating the entire music industry in the UK. Mm-hmm. Can't argue with that.
No, it's true.
Have you found it yet?
Yeah, I'm on it.
Find something to read.
Jay Richards said, I don't know, is this a girl or a guy? Doesn't matter. Yep, exactly what I've been wondering lately. I hear drill a lot, and there's a few UK hip-hop artists rising up like Little Sims and others. Apart from a few, there doesn't seem to be a thriving hip-hop scene like back in the day. Sad times.
Yeah.
Terra Slim responded.
Okay.
My brother Terra.
Boy, me and Terra have been at war this week, but let me leave him alone.
Mr. Firma. Drill is hip-hop, and it's much more popular than what was around in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Terra also said on his own comment, no, it's alive and kicking, just that the careers of many people our age and older are dead.
I kind of have to agree with that. He also said to imply that, girl, the scene is now a lot bigger than it's ever been. The only difference is that due to the internet and violence, the live scene will never be what it was. But as far as skill and talent, it's still very much evolving.
Yeah, I think, look, there's some comments and I'll find them at some point, but I think there's some...
Nathan Winslow said, nope.
Yeah, I just think there's some comments about the live scene, and I think that is very, very
Andy
relevant.
J said, high focus, fly the flag for UK hip-hop.
Yeah, there's definitely a number of comments saying things like that.
And then some people like Michael Thompson saying hip-hop is just dead in general. And I think you're just old, Mike.
High Focus, though, yeah, I feel that High Focus created their own scene. Like, they were their own subgenre, yeah? But I can't argue with the fact of them flying the flag. Even though, like, because I'm saying they do events where they book Skinny, they book Black Twang, Task Force, they bring them artists.
And they work
back.
with everyone, yeah. Like, their artists work with people from other genres and shit, Crime Man. And,
yeah. But they definitely work with the UK hip hop scene like a lot and like show love to it. And
show love to each other. Like,
I know Flip Tricks. One of the comments on there, I can't remember exactly where it is, but they were like, there's another comment on there about High Focus, and they're talking to me. They obviously don't know who I am or nothing, but they're just like, they're looking at it as if I'm looking for like someone to speak to find this answer, and they're like, yeah, you need to talk to Flip Tricks, mate. Flip Tricks is the guy. Like, you know I'm saying, like I didn't know Flip Tricks like 15, 20 years ago. You know what I'm saying? But they definitely kept that alive, and they definitely like fly the flag for like keeping them names alive.
Them and Blah and that whole scene.
Blah's been mentioned a few times as well.
Was it Dave Ray's Brooks says Loyal Kana and Little Sims are examples of people who can take 95 BPM hip-hop and make it work. So not dead. And people like Coffee Stone are really good. Genesis Elijah as well, his name's been mentioned bare times.
Yeah, his name's been mentioned bare times. And people kept asking, is he in the top 500 list? Yeah.
Bare people are mentioning Loyal Kana. Okay. But
Loyal Kana is like, he makes that sound, but I'm saying he was like, he's not in a scene. And that's why I'm saying the game has changed, isn't it? All right. We'll get back to this. What do you think we need to address about the last episode? I mean, as far as the topic. So last episode we asked, can an abuser earn forgiveness? And we talked about, was there comments? I haven't prepared the comments that I needed to reply. Did you find any comments that you wanted to pull out from the last episode?
Okay, yeah, there was a few. So there was some interesting ones. Hold on.
We'll get to the controversy, but you know what I'm saying, just to get to the people.
Yeah, like people, you know, like a lot of it is just people, you know, just showing love, great, like bigging up our viewpoints and stuff. So there's no need to read that stuff. Yeah. And then some people have like added further points to what we were saying. Like people addressing certain things we were saying about abuse and whether you can forgive it. You know them ones?
Yeah.
But some of them is just like spitting facts. So shout out to Jacob Zabo. He's people them and top up on Facebook, depending on if you're Terror Slim or Nova. He made a lot of good points about the Shamia Begum stuff. About how it was a cynical ploy by the government to make nationalism as an excuse to get them to votes and stuff because they don't have any other policies. Yeah,
right now, I don't even know what Keir Starmer said on this thing, but Keir Starmer is literally just pandering to nationalists with the whole entire Labour Party right now. So it seems like the angle.
He's really breaking down the whole case and how she was like.
He wrote a huge comment. Anyone listening, just go on the YouTube. We can't read his comment.
It breaks down that she was groomed by security services and she was. Yeah, a lot of stuff happened to her and she should be brought home and tried for her crimes. That's what basically his conclusion.
I wrote something down, and I can't remember what comment it is because I started writing points and I only wrote one, but someone made a point that when we're talking about forgiveness, that we must forgive ourselves for things we have done that we feel cause others to abuse us. And it's made me think of a lot of women, especially like put blame on themselves for, you know what I'm saying, like abuse will be like, oh, that's your fault. You made me do this. Mm-hmm. So I was like, the forgiveness for yourself. I don't think we really touched on that. There's like a few.
We really didn't know.
Yeah.
Like, not even a little bit.
But, all right, cool. I guess. The other thing was the Az guy. So since we recorded that podcast, I just wanted to touch on that.
I saw that and I was like, someone wrote, I was like, it said Az. I didn't read it because I was like, it said no reference.
Yeah.
I'm like, what reference did you want?
So there's a guy called Az who I discovered like the 2 days or a day after we recorded that podcast. I can't remember what his, he's got a hashtag that he uses for his like lives on Twitter. He's massive on Twitter live and he does like this kind of talk space and he interviewed Ribs after
I watched that
after the Young Spray one. I think it might have already been out before we recorded our thing, but I hadn't heard it. I heard it the next day. Terror actually sent it to me, and he went in on Ribs, like on the questions, like savagely. And I was like, "Raw, this guy is going like." Even the way we looked at it when we were talking about it, and we were like, "Oh yeah, Spray did a good job," challenging him and bringing this up. He was going like, "Nah." He's going in on Spray, he's going in on ice cream, he's going, right, you gave him a tracksuit at the end of it. What, you want this R word to like wear your tracksuit and that. And even I saw Young Spray's next podcast, and he was like, the next episode, he's like, he's like, Ribs, don't wear my tracksuit. Still, they're coming for me. They're telling me, like, don't wear the tracksuit. Yeah, so there's shots for man. You know what I'm saying, but I still feel how I felt what I said about how Spray dealt with it. But I can't argue with what the brother's saying. I was like, you're making a good point. Like, no one should be giggling about this and like. And then, so I watched that and then he comments on our video and it says no reference, ? I don't really know what he means, whether he's addressing something in the podcast or whether he's saying, you didn't reference my interview or something like that. Do you know what I'm saying? But I hadn't watched it, but I thought his interview was fire. So big him up, innit? But I've since then looked in, like, followed him and seen some stuff he's up to and he seems to just be going in on the gram scene all the time. I don't know why, but no, well, I do on some issues because he's calling out abusers, calling out what's the guy's name? Another guy from Spray's thing who was in the mix of it all. Chronic.
I heard him going on Big Zoo.
Yeah. He's beefing
with
Big Zoo. But that's like, a whole separate thing. That's not for anything like that. If I was
Big Zoo, I would have just locked off the convo. I don't know why Big Zoo stayed in that convo. No, but he was
going in on... The mad thing I saw was him going in on that Chronic brother. and saying, because Chronic's going for ribs, saying, oh yeah, you're a abuser, this and that. And then he was going, yeah, but what about rare? And he found that Chronic had made a song called Domestic Violence, where it was literally like a domestic violence celebration song. Like literally, like it's actually insane. It's like the song starts and he's like, yeah, like whoever's listening, is like, yeah, time to walk over to the bed and start something. I'm like, what? And then he's like start beef, innit? He's like basically saying like, and then in the chorus he's like, it's like a love song, innit? It's like he's trying to be a love song. It's like, I love you so much, I'll black your eye and all of that. You know what I'm saying? And the song, not only is it like horrific what's being said in the song is awful. Like it's a really bad song on top of that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I love you so much, I'll black your eye.
Yeah. So I was just like, bro, that's crazy. And that brother, I don't know, like, cool. I don't know if he's addressed that or whatever. He seems to be trying to do good stuff now. He's then I see someone share a clip of him with Respect when something was going on up north somewhere, like some racist thing with kids, and they all turned up on the block to kind of back it, and he's there. Like, the Chronic. So Chronic's there, like, steppers. You know, my man was like steppers only, so he's there, like, with the steppers kind of thing. So I was like, all right, cool. And then, but someone uploaded that on YouTube as like, Chronic trying to do damage limitation after his song leaked.
The internet is a madness, you know. Internet is a madness.
So yeah, I just learned like that as thing. I just learned stuff about people that like just go follow the brother, innit? Go and find him because yeah, he's exposing some mad stuff. But other than that, I mentioned MC Duke. I'm gonna get back to MC Duke in this conversation. I don't want to send my shots for MC Duke, yeah. But MC Duke has been writing some madness about me on the internet.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't know if you know who MC Duke is, or we've really spoke about this in depth. I don't know. But
I don't actually know who MC Duke is. I know you got problems with him, but I ain't heard his music, innit? So I don't really know like that.
We're gonna get to that one later. I think the Rodney P thing first.
Oh yeah, because that one was wild. That one was like, I see. Hey, yo, we got love, yeah? So
do you know the mad thing is, yeah? I was going to share the Rodney P clip. I thought this is going to get people talking about the podcast. So I was going to make that clip, yeah? And there's a moment in the thing where I go, big up Rodney P though, and you start laughing. And I thought, this is just hilarious content, yeah? But I'm
it's because you was good.
Like, man can't, on the next thing, man can't do this conversation about UK hip-hop and not big up Rodney P as well, or MCG. So big them man up.
Them man stay putting
I was going to make that clip, yeah, and put it on Instagram as this is the one of the clips to promote the podcast. And I thought, I went for Rodney's neck a bit though. Like I thought, actually, do I really want to make? If I make it a clip, that's taking it somewhere else.
Hard. Yeah,
so I thought, let me allow it, yeah. But he still saw it.
But Shorty Blitz must have come on like, yeah, I watched a bit of it, and then I'll end up watching the whole show. Good job, lads.
Oh yeah, so yeah, shout out Shorty Blitz.
And so Shorty Blitz wrote that, and then underneath,
shout out. There's a bunch of people I wanted to shout out. Like, there's a bunch of big people that who like big platforms and that who like showed love and we'll shout them out.
We'll shout them out
in the future, yeah. But yeah, Shorty Blitz being one of them.
And then Rodney P replied to you and Shorty Blitz.
Yeah, Rodney P.
And he was like, at Shorty Blitz at Nova, and I was like, oh yeah, cool. I don't even have to read the rest of this.
He was like, both of you love talking people's names, and he started just sending shots for both of us, yeah. And I was baffled, like. I replied, yeah. For some reason, my reply to that thing came in a separate thing. It didn't go in the first. I don't know if Shorty see it or whatever, but I replied like, I don't know what you got going on with Shorty Blitz here, yeah. But I don't know why you're saying this to him, because he didn't say nothing about you. Like, the podcast ain't about you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you got mentioned it. But I don't know why you've chosen that, bro, you're gonna go for Shorty Blitz for saying that he watched the podcast and said, big up, lads.
I think he was trying to show love to the podcast, get people talking. Rodney's trying to promote the youngers, you get me?
Like I said, shout out Rodney P. He's trying to put us on.
I was reading it, I'm like, wow, this is dope. This is really useful, you get me?
Nah, but before he wrote that comment, he already came for me in my inbox, yeah? I was going to share the screenshot. Maybe I'll share it before I show this episode. But he was like, yeah, you see, people like you ain't really worth my time. Like, kind of, like, he came in with energy for me. Yeah.
And
then he was like,
I knew you was going to get that.
I didn't think I was going to get that. I didn't even think he's
you was on
Listen.
this. You was being bare mud, fam. I ain't gonna lie. Last podcast,
listen,
you was mud family.
It's mud fam for life anyway.
Get
Yeah?
me?
So cool, cool. Yeah, him and Skinny got beef, whatever. Yeah, it's Team Skinny, man. But listen,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still saying that now, and I'm not interested. So that energy might come into why I said them things. And do you know what? I got energy with Rodney P anyway. Yeah, I will explain that here today as well. Anyway, I don't care. We've got energy between us. It's not crazy. It's not nothing deep. Do you know what I'm saying? But,
Yeah.
So. Obviously, I said, but I'm saying I'm not even thinking he's gonna see it or watch it. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know what's gonna come of this. But I said with my entire whole chest, yeah. Obviously, let me explain what happened briefly for people who haven't watched it. That we were just talking about Skinny Man and Rodney P having a beef, and Rodney P talking about this beef on the Young Spray podcast. And in that Young Spray podcast, he explains that Skinny accused him of bumping some money from a Grenfell fundraising event, that he explained that he donated the money to some charity and done this thing with it. And I was mocking like, he got the money. He said he went and knew this girl at Apple and then he flipped the thing. And I said to him, yo, just watching his mannerisms, and this is how I felt, don't get me wrong, yeah? And I know Skinny's just taking shots, but I said with my entire whole chest, so I have to own this, my whole chest, yeah, he bumped that money, 100%. I saw the thing, and now I'm sure he bumped the money.
And he wrote in the comments, and you're so-called body language expert.
And the mad thing is, I didn't come through about nothing else really. Yeah. And he's like, boom. He's come in my inbox. He's like, let me just show you to get your facts straight, yeah? And he's sent me a video, and he proved to me that he did donate that money. So I have to just say I was wrong, hold my hands up, you know what I'm saying? Apologize, my bad. Okay. And I said it with my whole chest, you know what I'm saying? Like I certified, and I was convinced. Don't get me wrong. And don't get me wrong, I didn't think it just because Skinny said it before, whatever. I don't know why he thought that or whatever. Like I only thought it because of how he like looked in that interview,
you know,
telling
also
the story.
it's when Spray was like,
maybe because Spray just had him under pressure. Do you know what I'm saying?
Bro, that was hilarious. Hey, Spray is one of my favorite podcasts right now.
All right, let me just break it down. He did send me a video that he said was actually taken down because of like maybe some of the music that was in it, maybe a copyright issue. He said that video was taken down, so he sent me the video. I'm gonna post this video online myself. I said to him, and he came. Remember, he's coming from me with energy, yeah. So I'm still saying in the comments, yeah, allow all the energy. Don't talk to me like that kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, then when we started voice noting each other, we're speaking to each other respectfully or whatever. But he was like, well, let's see if you're man enough to admit your mistakes, since you love talking about everyone else's mistakes on the internet. And I said, yo, Rodney, that's where you got the wrong one, because I am the one that will come and do that. You know what I'm saying? I am the one. That's what people need to realize about me. I am the one that I'll hold my hands up, even if I'm wrong about a subject. Oh, I was wrong about that, and you educated me on something. Cool, shit, I'm learning. Do you know what I'm saying? So I was wrong about it.
Yeah,
my bad. I think I've
right.
done him a huge favor. Do you know what I'm saying? Because really, it's like I said, Team Skinny Man, they're in their thing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this is actually, I'm now proving that he didn't bump that money, which he probably, like I said, actually said in the last episode, I said last minute, I said, benefit of the doubt, he might not want to give attention to this beef, and that might be why he hasn't proved it on his own platforms, because he might not want to give it attention, which is probably the case. You know what I'm saying? So now I'm going to give it attention, and I'm going to prove it, and there you go. You know what I'm saying?
So you've seen the evidence?
Okay. I've seen a video of him in a youth club, sitting face to face with a person, and them talking about what they've done with these MacBooks, iPads, Apple stuff, like he said, yeah. And then, like, while she's saying it, like, some text comes down the screen and it says all of the money and it says what it costs and all of that. I think it was like $8,000. Like, it has a whole breakdown. Of course, like, it's enough for me. He could have made it up. He could have just made the video. It's not like he showed me bank statements, but nah, I believe him. You know what I'm saying? Like, cool.
Yo, if he did, let him keep the money. It's worth it. That's enough work. You know what? No one's like, you know what? Like, one back in the day,
we said he made it after we done the episode.
No, back in the day, someone tried to rob me and they had nothing. They just tried to rob me with their hands. They're like, no, you need more tools. But if man made a whole video with numbers along the side. That's enough. I believe him. I'm like, cool, he done that, and he done a good thing, whatever. And I realized, so cool, this is part of what made me think of this question as well. Because I sat and I thought, I've obviously got energy with Rodney. Obviously, I talk about certain things. And then he got in it with me.
like, because the mad thing is we're talking about like abuse on that episode. We touched on that with Rodney's name briefly, but we was only just talking about Rodney v Skinny Man because it's a current story. That was like separate from the debate. So we didn't go in on that conversation with Rodney. And I'm not going to today either, but because I talk about this stuff, when me and him are chatting, actually there's two things. Because he's proved that to me, right? Mm-hmm. Then I've gone to him, okay, look, just so I know, because the other thing I called him out for is like, oh, why are you coming at Skinny about his record label? Mm-hmm. Yeah?
Oh, about the low life.
Why are you coming at Skinny saying that how that reflects on you? And you said it reflects on you that Skinny has called out low life and said that they owe him money and he's never got no money from them, yeah?
Yeah.
So I said, look, just break that down for me. Why does that reflect on you? And why were you coming for Skinny on that on the internet? And so he explained it to me. I still don't rate it. It's nothing new, but he was basically just saying, yeah, Joe, like Brain Tax, is my brethren. And I'm not going to have him come send shots for him because I know that it's not true. Okay. And he says, Skinny said that he came out of jail, came out of Scrubs and went up to the studio where DJ Flip's building where Brain Tax used to be, you know what I'm saying? Which was me and Skinny's manager at the time. He's like, and the whole building was gone, like the whole office was gone and nobody was there. So he gave this whole story, and he's just like, I know that's not true, like, you know what I'm saying? And I think I've seen that's the next podcast that Skinny said that on ages ago. Yeah. So I think he's like responded to that. But I'm like, but then he goes, and yeah, I know he ain't got certain money. Yeah, I know he ain't got certain money that he's owed. He goes, even I had money I was owed that I didn't get. But he goes, I found Joe, I spoke to him, and then I got the money. He goes, I sorted it out. And he goes, I think, as far as I'm aware, Task Force have done the same. And he goes, he was saying it's just money that came since streaming service had come out. Yeah. Because back then there was no Spotify and all of that when them albums came out. So it's kind of like, where's all of that going to? And then he was like, you know, maybe it's Skinny's attitude. That's why he ain't got his money. You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying? But I'm like, I told him, I said, listen, look, you know what I'm saying? If you already know yourself that there's money owed, whether it's $2,000 or whether it was zero, whether Skinny really walked and saw the whole thing and there was a thing, whether that story is exactly it or not, why are you on the internet saying that? You don't need to be on the internet saying that. And I had to remind him, I had to tell him stuff he didn't know. I had to say to him, actually, because he would have known that's his manager's building, he'd be able to, and I was like, no, you don't realise that Skinny and Flip weren't talking at the end them times. If Skinny might have gone to that building, like trying to find all of them, he might not have known that they're not there no more. Do you know what I'm saying? Because they weren't cool, that they'd fallen out. So I had to like correct him on certain parts of it and all of that as well. Do you know what I'm saying? But he was just basically backing his brethren. And he did say, he goes, at a time earlier, I would have backed Skinny in the same way if someone, like, you know what I'm saying, said something about him on the internet or like said he owed some money or...
Skinny and Rodney P need to stop talking to podcasters about their beef.
I'm just saying it.
Listen, I've known you both for years. Listen to my advice. Don't call up podcasters, and start telling them about your beef. That's not your path. You're greater than that. You both shine brighter than that. That's not what you're supposed to be doing.
I don't think I told Rodney I was going to say that part, but I told him I'm going to talk about this because I said I'm going to address the thing I got wrong. I said I'm address this, so I'm sure he knows I was going to address this part of it too because I'm asking him to tell me, and he knows I'm doing a podcast. I'm saying he bigged up the podcast afterwards after he got calm and I said I'm going to do that. He was like, okay. He was like, look, man, let me just say, you know what I'm saying, like, the podcast is good, like, I actually commend what you lot are doing, but just get your facts straight and not just biased opinion. And I had to tell him, well, yeah, I get it, but the podcast is...
were biased,
no, but listen, I said the podcast is gonna be biased opinion, though. Every podcast, you know what I'm saying? Unless, it's gonna be biased opinion, I'm gonna get shit wrong, and you're gonna be able to say, oh, you got that wrong, and then I can correct it, and it's a continuing conversation, so it's not really that deep, you know what I'm saying? But before I remembered about the Skinny Man bit, then he starts going to me, oh yeah, and since you like talking about, you know, women's issues and let me just tell you, and started trying to talk to me about his thing, you know what I'm saying, like his accusations and like I said, I'm not going to get deep into it, but he did just he chose to start talking to me about it because he knows I speak about this stuff, and maybe he was watching that episode, seeing the title, thinking we're going to go in about that and then realised we didn't, but he you know, he was just like, you know, I've taken accountability for these things. And then he said, but some of it, he goes, isn't true. He goes, I've taken accountability for the parts that are true, but some of it isn't, right? And I've seen him do this before. Like, I've seen him call out someone and say, oh, this person's lying, and make a whole post. And this, I've never really spoke about this deeply, and I said it to him, so I'll say it here. And I said, bro, that's the bit I didn't respect, because I saw you make a whole post about this person you want to attack, and say, oh, this bit's not true. And I goes, what you're doing now, because I respected you taking the accountability, but what you're doing now is you're deflecting. You've said the accountability bit, and then you're quickly deflecting from it to go put the energy onto this person over here, yeah? Even, and say, well, that person's lying. And now everybody on the internet is like, yeah, but Rodney's being lied about. That becomes the narrative. Do you know what I'm saying? And I said, to me, it looks bad on you. I said, man to man, I'm going to give you the advice. I said, I don't, because he was saying, I'm going to address this. I just haven't addressed it. I'm still going to address this soon in the future. And I was saying, I don't think you should do that. I goes, even if you're 100% telling me the truth, that one bit of information is a lie, I don't think you need to do that. And I did tell him, I goes, look, I can't tell you that it wasn't a lie. I don't know. But you know, when there's a pattern of incidents, I don't, like, it doesn't look good for you, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, anyway, so I'm not going to say, honestly, I don't probably think it was a lie myself personally, but I can't say that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't say that factually, you know what I'm saying? But I'll just leave that person alone. Because I don't think that looks good for you. Do you know what I'm saying? For me. But he don't care what I think. Do you know what I'm saying? He cares what all these manosphere, man, them on the internet are they will just go, oh, yeah, Rodney's being lied about. Do you know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm glad we ended up having that conversation, because I've never tried to address any of that with him personally. And I have posted things here and there about it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Hey, listen, nobody holler at me after this show. Hey, listen, no. Let me clarify things now. I don't want no deal. No, oh my God. That sounds so long. It sounds just like, baby. Yeah, and I want to talk to you about this and this. Oh, God, I don't nobody. Hey, look at me now, none of you.
Listen, don't have Rodney P though, innit? Like I said last time. But
now, I hear you have to clear his name or whatever, but I'm saying, call him Nova. Nova.
No, but listen, there's one flip. I don't want to go on this for too long. Yeah? But there's one more thing. There's the bit I meant to start on with Rodney. That actually, I obviously I have an energy for him for that. I've had an energy for him for that. To be honest, when I see how he dealt with that thing, and don't get me wrong, I respect the accountability bit like way more than I respect most man who don't take none. Like, I've seen some of that from him, but then I see the deflection and I didn't like it. So I've had an energy about him from that, but it goes further back, because even before all this came out in the public with his stories, I was talking about these women's issues, like starting to over the last 7-8 years, yeah? So I'm talking about feminism, I'm talking about this and that. And a number of times, Rodney would jump into my debates and say stuff, like tell me to shut up, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not literally, it did get to that, but I'm saying like, he would just be like, taking the other side, like away, the other side from feminism. Don't quote anything, like I said, I'm not saying anything specific. But he would, and I was aware of some of these issues that became public later on. So a couple of times I commented to him like, yo, I don't think you should be commenting on this. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like, I had this energy, and maybe he had the energy towards me because of that. And then once I commented, this is before the whole Westwood thing came out as well, yeah? Or like, at least the like documentary and like the real like information about it. But I posted a comment saying that I think Tim Westwood done more for UK hip hop than other DJs, right? I must say this. You're really gonna not want no one talking to you about this episode, yeah. But what I was actually saying, I'm gonna say it now, and it's no disrespect to who I'm talking about, because this person has done a lot for hip hop, and I respect and love their work. But I was basically saying I think Tim Westwood done more for UK hip hop than 279. That's what I was saying, and maybe like and. R.I.P. Ty.
You just stay in controversial spaces, innit?
Listen, R.I.P. to Ty. No, but I big up 279. I'll explain. I'm gonna explain some. This because it's relevant to this is UK hip hop dead conversation. This is what it was remembering all of this about what happened with Rodney's argument. Why I thought, the past. No, it's remembering all of this that made me think of doing this topic. And it wanted to do with my conversations with Rodney. Rodney reminded me of my conversations with 279 and like what I was thinking when I wrote that. And I've had this conversation with Ty. You know what I'm saying? Like R.I.P. Ty. He knew who I was talking about when I made that post, because I'd had it in the inbox like with him, and he'd said to me, I've said this before, but he said to me like, all right, I need to link up with you. You need to like go and eat or something. And we need to sit down because I need to tell you the real story. Like, you need to know certain things that were done. And he was pushing this, like, Tim Westwood's, what became Surviving Tim Westwood thing from then. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't really, because I hadn't seen any direct stories, I wasn't really taking it on where I should be.
Ty put me onto that stuff as well. I didn't realise.
Fuck Tim Westwood anyway. You know what I'm saying? Especially now. But at that point, what I was saying is that Tim Westwood started putting on UK rappers who were like, whether it's grime, road rap with gigs, the grime artists, he started putting on these cyphers and letting them rappers really just do their thing, yeah? And that is what started to build this scene and make it become mainstream. Like, it was a huge part of how there was what led to what we got now, where 279, and he has his reasons for this, he'll stand by this, he's not going to tell me I'm wrong for saying this, he would not play certain rappers because of their content. He wouldn't play certain street content on his show because he's probably saying, I'm holding on to hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Like when I talk about hip hop being dead, he might say, yeah, hip hop died when we allowed that to happen. I don't know. But he also wouldn't play songs with singing on the chorus. And me and Ty had this conversation, and Ty was like, yeah, my biggest song in my whole career is like 279's my guy, but he wouldn't play, can't remember the name, which song it is now, but he was like, he wouldn't play my song because there's singing on the chorus. And I'm like, and I can
That's
only
too
see,
strict.
What?
That's too strict.
That's what I'm saying, bro. And I remember I bumped into 279 outside the Forum. I don't know what concert it was. And I had this conversation with him. I was like, bro, I'm trying to do something now where I reach an audience outside of the world of UK hip hop. I'm still being true to myself. I don't only listen to boom bap beats with no singing. I listen to R&B. So this is not selling out. So I had the song with Dappy at the time, right? Which hadn't come out. So I'm sitting on this song. The N-Dubs are like a huge group at the time, pop stars. And I'm sitting on this song with Dappy. And I'm telling 279, I'm like, I got this record. And he's kind of, I feel like he's telling me, yeah, like, that's not the angle, I can't play it, and I played it to him, you know what I'm saying? Like, I played it off my phone, like, in headphones, and I can't remember the whole conversation, but I just remember from then, he wasn't really on playing that kind of thing, and...
It's wild, yeah. It sounds too strict, but then at the same time, I kind of respect it, because DJs don't normally just be... DJs usually don't just play what they like, especially radio DJs, and you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And like big club DJs. And these times,
but a real like hip hop DJ can and should to a degree. You know what I'm saying? So I get
the fact that he's so staunch with that rule, I do respect it, but I think it's insane because it's like, but there's singing on a hook don't make it less hip hop. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and like even. Like, I don't know, when they was talking about the Strand song, you know what I'm saying? It's got melody to the hook. Is that if it's got any melody, there's like, you can't walk that line. It's too hard.
But he did walk that line, and like you say, you can't do nothing but respect it if man's standing on your own,
on their own peg,
morals and your own like
talk.
decision and being like, I'm gonna ride this till the end.
And I can't say nothing. 279's played me, and he's played.
Yeah, he's played my records. Don't get me wrong.
He's played my records with melodic hooks as well.
You think so?
Like,
sure. If that's true, we need to investigate.
It depends though, innit? It depends how melodic it is.
Yeah, like,
I'm sure he played Nothing's Changed. He played stuff. I don't know. He played stuff.
Yeah, but that's not that melodic, man. Like,
it's not melodic enough.
Like, that's not singing. You know what I'm
it's not proving my love to you type.
Yeah, like, it's not a singer on the hook. Like, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, don't get me wrong. 279's played my records. Like 279's DJ'd for man. Like when I've played his event and I didn't have a DJ with me. You know what I'm saying? Like
I used to fuck with his show. I didn't even notice that. I listened to his show. It's not like I ain't never listened to it.
Yeah, of course.
It's like I never noticed there were no singing hooks.
Yeah, I didn't notice. You know what I'm saying? I didn't notice. This was said to me by an elder rapper who I spent a lot of time with, who said it to me, and he was saying that he didn't rate it. Yeah, and I'm saying like
that type of stuff. That I don't know though. As long as there's more DJs and there's more variety about as well, but you can't just be so.
But I'm saying this, and this is why both 279 and Westwood are not as that active anymore. But at a time, Westwood took his position at Capital, innit?
Yeah.
I think, was that correct? Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Because Westwood,
Charlie Sloth replaced Westwood, and then Westwood went to Capital, and then 279 went. Remember, they've had beef and all this stuff going on for years. So I reckon.
So when you wrote that post, was this going on?
No. It was later. I was just talking, and I was just talking about the past, innit? But I think Westwood was still on Capital, and 279 had left. And what I was saying, and what the elder who said this to me was saying the same thing, is like, yo, especially like the street content, like these kids that's in the hood living this kind of lifestyle, and like wanting to rap about it, like that's an opportunity to change their lives. Like literally, loads of these people have become millionaires, made jobs for their friends. It's created took bare people out of a lifestyle of crime and dangerous stuff. And people talk about rap influencing violence, but to me, I always go back to the point. Nah, it's saving way more lives. Thousands. Like Giggs being the star he is saving thousands and thousands of lives from inspiration, from and then even just the people around him who has given amazing careers to.
You can't hold them responsible for, because I'm saying most of the people that buy that music are nothing to do with the hood. So it's not the music that is making anything happen based on when it's active. You know what I'm saying?
No,
it's the ends. It's the ends 100%. And the environment. Yeah. A lot of that time, it's just we want to blame rappers for everything.
And that was really, when I'm saying my point about this, that was what I was responding to. I was responding to this energy of rappers being to blame for violence, and I was using Tim Westwood as someone who's attacked, and the type of rappers on his show are attacked, as an example to say, actually, I think he did more for UK hip hop than anybody on any of these other DJs, yeah.
And he was sometimes a bit too staunch on the other side. Because he would only play stuff when he was super gangster. He wouldn't play a lot of like.
And I'm glad we just talked about all that separate from the Rodney P thing. But the reason I was starting it was because this is where me and Rodney P bumped heads, because I wrote that, and obviously Westwood and Rodney P like have issues on it as well. And don't get me wrong, I cussed Westwood when he said that thing in the Giggs interview, dissing Rodney P. I was cussing about that on the internet, like, raw, how can he talk about Rodney P like that? Yeah, but he might not know that I did that or whatever, but so I wrote this Westwood status, and Rodney P, like I woke up in the morning because I must have done it at night, and Rodney P had wrote "you prick" or something, like, you know what I'm saying, just like prick or dickhead or something, like on the comment, and I was just like, huh? And this is why also when I watched that interview with Spray, he's like, yeah, big. He's like, yeah, but I must say, Skinny Man's the only person who like have the issue with me to ever step to me. Yeah, not that I stepped to him in person, but when he wrote that on my thing, I woke up so in the morning. The first thing I did is message him, was like, "Raw, who you talking to?" You know what I'm saying? And then like,
so wait,
he bounced back to me with the same energy, and we were both like, raw, like. We had an argument, we had a little, texting, like, a little argument about it, yeah? So that's why I've probably always had an energy with him since then. And then he also said, people have an issue with me, and then come up and shake my hand, yeah? And me and him had that interaction, and when I saw him, he came up and shook my hand. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, cool. Like, I'm watching it, and I'm like, yeah, all this stuff you're saying about Skinny and this never happens. I just know that happened with me and you, that happened. But look, I had no issue with him either, because he was going, "Oh, you threatening me. And I was like, "No, I'm not threatening you." I said, "You're a big man, you're an elder.
But what I want to know
you should just apologize, so we should move on."
279 is not playing 1980 by his still. Is that?
No, I don't think he would have been playing that. And that
what about Lyndon David Hall and Black Twang? He's not playing that.
Probably played the other version.
The Sexy Cinderella version.
Yeah, Westwood was playing that. That's where I first heard
it. Yeah, but Westwood weren't playing Craig David because he said you're too soft. Yeah. I'm saying, bro, we got to have
Westwood's played.
Who was in the middle of these two guys? Who was playing everything?
Maybe Shorty Blitz.
Maybe Big Ten. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them, man.
DJ MK, I don't know.
Yeah, that was good guys.
I'm saying, don't get me wrong, I love all of these people, and I have my own relationships, and like I know these people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And I before I knew any of them, I grew up listening to them all. And to be honest, okay, Westwood is the one out of all of them that I haven't built like as much of a relationship with.
Yeah, like, yeah, because what man was about.
I know, like, I know Westwood to say like what's good or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I've been on his show once, but I don't like. Yeah, he wasn't in our world in the scene. You know what I'm saying? Like when we're talking about this UK hip hop scene, like,
no,
yeah, he's not. He wasn't like.
He didn't love it.
He didn't. Yeah, he wasn't in it. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, yeah, that's that, man. And like. This is what I talk about, is UK hip hop dead? It's like looking back. What are the things that went wrong? Do you know what I'm saying? That stopped it staying alive. If we're talking about even just that scene, if artists are not allowed to flourish and
you like in
certain ways,
I ain't gonna lie, yeah. This is messed up to say, but Come Through back in the day didn't let the hood in enough. And I felt like UK hip hop in general didn't let the hood in enough.
100%. And this is that's what I'm saying. This is the same attitude. It's not just 279. It's like yeah.
And they wouldn't let. And like if you didn't know people, you couldn't get no radio play. You couldn't get no shows in the scene. And there was just a lot of. But you know who could come in? Just any backpack youth from country who had some bars.
Yeah.
Like if you was a backpack youth from country, you could move to London and join the scene.
Yeah.
Whereas London man from the city, like
Yeah,
I would sometimes have gigs. You know what I'm saying? I would have like,
yeah.
and I couldn't get Mandem in.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is. They're not inviting the Mandem and the gal them, and there was no girls first of all.
Yeah.
It was lacking women, and that's a big issue. It's just like. And that's why I feel like the other scenes had more success because they really appealed to the ends more. And if the hood loves it, the world will love it. R.I.P. Prodigy and Mobb Deep for saying that. But that's the truth of it.
So what do you think? Like, if you just think about the man, them, as you're saying, like the people that wouldn't get into those events when you're going to things, what did they think about that scene at that time? What were they saying stuff about it?
Yeah, like, because even like, shout out to Junior from UK Overstood. Yeah. We used to go to them events, he'd be like, rah, man, what's this, man? Because obviously, remember, we still had our own rays, you know what I'm saying? We had bigger fish, we had stuff going on in the end, so it was just different energy even. It didn't even feel, I don't know, man, it felt like the acts on stage were always fire, innit? Yeah. Shout out to Rodney, Skinny, 57th. But then the audience was never packed with the people like the people on stage. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, no, but there are some rappers that did look more like that. And it became more and more like that over time.
Yeah, shout out to Jest and Tommy Evans and the rest of them. You know what I'm saying? But there was, I'm just saying, like, I felt like it was super cliquey as well.
Yeah.
Like, you had to be down with one of the batches that was already around. Even you and me coming through Skinny, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. You know what I'm saying? Because we might not have been let in otherwise. Skinny might not have been let in, and I'm sure that they had to go through in the beginning, like going on them open mics, proving yourself and getting popular within that world so
and also,
much.
I feel like that man created that was it Mudlums and all that stuff?
Mudlums. Mudlums was an event Skinny put on. Which I think created that energy, and I feel like a lot of them were inspired by Mudlums. It was one of the first nights to do all of that. Yeah. I think Mudlums was a bit more of the hood, though. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mudlums was more of a grind.
And then it became more and more. We'll do another episode about this, but about the whitewashing I've talked about.
It got gentrified.
It got gentrified, yeah.
UK hip-hop got gentrified, and that's what killed it. That's what killed indie as well.
Yo.
You can't just have white boys doing it. Let someone else in, you get me? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and rock and roll. You know what I'm saying?
Like, let someone else in, or you're gonna kill that shit off. Like,
yeah, that's deep.
But I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't. Even now, I don't know. It's this. I don't know. This is something I haven't analyzed enough. But like the high focus with Ocean Wisdom and some of the other rappers they recently signed, and that I feel like the diversity is important to keeping them popping. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's coming back. I think they noticed it. And don't get me wrong, I think they noticed us talking about it, especially in the UK hip hop debate group as well. Like we were talking about it a lot, how all these like Boom Bap Festival, all the high focus, everyone's white. And I think I don't know if I said it last time, but Jam Baxter came up to me once and was like, "Yeah, I think you're right." And I didn't even know he'd been watching this debate. He was like, "I think you're right, but I don't think it's intentional." And and I think they signed like Tremendous.
Tremendous. I was trying to find.
He's got a record out with Skinny at the moment. That's fucking fire.
She's been fire for a minute.
Just to go back to what you said though, before we get like to high focus, what you said about Big J is mad. Like, just like him as a person is a great example because, and I only realized this. I really don't realize how integral he was to everything we have in hip hop today. Yeah, him and a number of other people. When Bones said that came out of the road rap, the pop kind of success we're seeing now, that came out of the road rap scene. Yeah, and I have said this before that. You know, saying it's the same story you just told, that some of these people couldn't get in and weren't getting a bringing in the UK hip hop scene that was already alive, so they had to just start doing their own thing, and it started something new. And Big J, you're saying Big J is literally coming to the event with you. You know what I'm saying? With us or whatever. Because when I did my thing on the Hunts podcast, he talked about it. He talked about like starting off with us, and then he literally was like, right, I'm going to start a YouTube channel over here and do my own thing. And literally K-Coke, Benny Banks, there's two white rappers. I can't just say white rappers. Let's give me some.
Everyone, man. Like, I don't know, Blade Brown, Young Tef,
Stormzy even came on his channel first. Like, he literally...
C-Biz. The amount of different people that went through UK overstood at certain stages.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know, man. Like, and he don't get mentioned nowhere. That's why it's like...
Yeah, no, so that's why I say I have to mention that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know what experience Jamal or the other channels went
I remember
through
I used to be around events, in them times, like 2007. He was with us,
is what I know.
And Jamal and Rashid, all these men will be calling him up, asking for advice. And he'd be like, he was like their big brother. He'd be like, listen, don't worry, don't be scared.
Some men are like...
And then be like, oh, can I go to Hackney? He'd be like, yeah, just go, don't worry, you'll be fine.
So I'm saying, because he went everywhere.
Yeah, he went everywhere and went to the most dangerous places first. And he would tell them.
I'm saying he put his life on the line for this thing, bro. We got to give him his props.
Nah, it's real. The disrespect he gets, I feel so...
No, 100%.
Like, he really... And I watched him build it. And it was more just, there's so much talent in this city I want to show. It weren't like, oh, I want to be a mogul or nothing.
Yeah, he didn't ever put himself in. I had this conversation with him, like, off camera and that, where I said to him, like, I think what was different with you didn't want to try and be a star. Even now, when you're doing the podcast, you hear him in the background, but he's not sitting there. He didn't ever. When Jamal became, you know what I'm saying, Jamal RIP, he became a star. Like, he became bigger than SBTV at a point.
Yeah. Posty was trying to do like interview shows and stuff. They were all trying to be in the front of the camera. I do tell Junior, he should do some camera stuff.
Yeah, why not? He should, didn't he? But I'm just saying, like, that
guy's dope with it.
I just think that's mad when you pointing him out as the person who couldn't get in the club. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't know if he's a bit older than some of them, man, or whatever, like, you know what I'm saying, at our age. But that he couldn't get in the club for that UK hip-hop scene that we're talking about. And
then later
he's the person that went and done that. And that just shows why, like, that's one of the biggest mistakes that scene made was not letting those people in.
And to be fair to the scene, I'm going to lie, a lot of times it was a lot of club policy. To be not in letting people into their clubs sometimes as well. I remember when WK...
Yeah, but it's not just a club policy, yeah? Cool, I understand you're saying that, the racist club promoters, but we would be kicking off about that. Outdoors. We would pattern up bouncers about that kind of shit. You know what I'm saying? There's also, you're talking about the clickiness of being, once you are inside, because I know Junior's come inside to us, to them places, so it's not like he didn't come in, ever, you know what I'm saying? But I'm saying, and whoever else, yeah? But it's the clickiness of being able to build something.
Yeah, even like random rappers that I knew, and when I was asking them, how did you even get a show here? And they were like, I've been coming outside and talking to the promoters. I'm like, bruh, it's clicky.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be doing some kung fu movie stuff to like even get into to do the open mic and stuff, and it's like...
And that's why you look at these different scenes and eras, yeah? And that's why I say MC Duke, yeah? MC Duke is one of the first ever UK rappers, yeah, like literally, yeah. Derek B was the first. I think Derek B. I read that MC Duke was the first UK rapper to put out an album, but I realized that was wrong. Someone corrected me and said no, it was Derek B. was the first UK rapper to actually make an album and release it, and that charted. Okay. Then MC Duke was signed to the same label, and then he had an album out. So it might be the second UK rapper to release an album.
Do we not count Smiley Culture and them type of man? Because it's not rap?
Maybe that might be the case. Yeah, that might be the case. I don't know the timeline as well, but that might be the case. Obviously, when we get into the deeper conversation, we'll include them people. But so I'm just giving him his props to say that. To be honest, do you know what I'm saying? Like he was like a legendary UK rapper. I think he was still rapping American them times, but it's like, or he was starting to.
Funky D was doing that when I was in year 7.
Yeah. We're gonna get into this. I'm gonna say that's the first person, just as you mentioned him. Funky Dio is in that list.
Funky Dio
is in the list of the top 500 rappers currently in the last 12 months. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to double check that.
That makes sense though, because he be dropping music, and I know he's got a big Japanese audience. Remember
it's not about just dropping music. I'm saying these are people who have put out records that still play in it. Like these records are still being played on, like maybe it's in a movie because all of this data's from everywhere and still being played on Spotify. You know what I'm saying?
And also the numbers, innit? It's just like,
So anyway, MC Duke, he had a big record out called I'm Riffing. That was like a big record back in the day, whatever. He's done his thing. But I can see this brother, yeah? I'm not going to go into the deepness of... I don't have beef with this brother. Let me just be clear about that, yeah? But I had a... But
he got beef with you.
He got beef with me, innit? like with
MC Duke... You can call up a podcaster and talk about it.
No, but I'm saying, like, this guy's, like, I was about to say he's a clown. I might end up dissing him, but whatever, yeah. Like, listen, yeah, the guy, 3 years ago, I had a disagreement with this guy on Facebook, as you do, about R. Kelly and about me saying defending R. Kelly is nonce defense. I don't know the exact word. I'm saying you're defending a nonce, and like he later said, I'm not defending R. Kelly. I'm just saying this. Da, da, da. So he might try and take a position where he's not doing that, but he was saying like I'm like we all knew 20 years ago. And actually, it was Kobe Bryant that the conversation was about, because it was about when that Snoop thing had happened and Oprah Winfrey, the woman from Oprah Winfrey's show, who had asked a question about Kobe Bryant's case just after he died. And then everyone was like, yo, you shouldn't be talking about that right now. Gayle King. So it was about that. Yeah. And I had never looked into that story. And I'm saying, R.I.P. Kobe Bryant, whatever. Like I was just looking at the time. I hadn't realized about this story. And I looked it up and I realized that he had made this statement of, you know, that girl didn't lie. Da, da, da. Like he had made a statement taking accountability for whatever the situation had happened. That's how he had worded it. That's what I was saying at the time. And he was just like having an argument about that. And then R. Kelly just came, he got mentioned in it. I said I wasn't going to go into this whole thing. God, I shouldn't have. But yeah, I started now. Anyway, he said R. Kelly. I'm like, look, we all knew what R. Kelly did however many years ago, and we all didn't do nothing about it. I'm saying I put my hands up in that as well, because his music came out, and we talked about it in the last episode, and he was just like, yeah, but that girl came out and said that didn't happen. I'm like he said something like as if the girl said it wasn't her, or I'm like, yo, there's a video of this, bro. Like we know it. So I'm telling him this is R. Kelly's support is not support. That's what I'm telling him at the time. Yeah. That's a fact. Anyway, he came for my neck, like not just like in that thing. He started inboxing me, threatening me, when I see you, I'm gonna pull up on you. You know what I'm saying? All of this, yeah, for like, you know, just briefly, and then he blocked me. And then in the entire 3 years since then, I've never spoke about this. I've ignored him out of respect, and I don't think he even knows who I am. This is how disconnected he is to the UK hip hop scene. I don't think he even knows who I am, and I'm like an integral person from that scene, because I think he hasn't put out music since so far back then that he hasn't been connected with anything that's going on, and he's been anti everyone that came after him. Everyone. He's been so anti that he doesn't even know who I am. Do you know what I'm saying? Okay. And maybe if he did, he realised we got common friends or whatever. He has literally been writing on the internet for 3 years that when he sees me, he's going to do me something. You know what I'm saying? This is
over this R.
Kelly thing, over a little idiot. And I don't get me wrong, I didn't come for his neck. Like, it wasn't a deep thing. Like, I didn't. So I'm saying, I ain't done this brother nothing, and he's still threatening me. I've ignored it. Then the other day, someone just sent me a screenshot of him doing it again. Like, it's been a while, innit? And I just said, nah, I've had enough, man. So I shared the thing. I shared the R. Kelly debate. I said, yo, fuck this guy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, like, stop. Like, don't think, because if you threaten somebody, I don't know what like kind of mentality these men come from. You threaten somebody through word of mouth, or tell this person I said that, whether you're out on the internet or not. That means when I see you, I have to expect that you're going to do that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So I might attack you. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you've said it is. So I don't know if he means it or not. I don't think he does, because he's on the internet talking nonsense. But
yeah, I don't know.
Then I spoke to someone. Don't get me wrong. I've spoke to people about it in the last week. Like, I spoke to some OGs and people that know, and they're going, "Oh yeah, back in the day, MC Duke. There was a rumor that MC Duke pulled a gun on someone or something like that." You know what I'm saying, so people are. So maybe he's. I'm like, yo, bro, like, I've had guns pulled on me a bunch of times, and I don't care about all of that. But he's a grown old man, isn't it? Like, you know what I'm saying? So just drop me out. All I'm saying is, and I had one person shout me who knows him and was like, oh, that's the OG, who's someone I'm tight with, and they've said they're going to reach it and they're going to squash it and all of that. So I'm ready to do that. Don't get me wrong, I'm ready to do it. But man, stop threatening me on the internet. Like,
it's wild.
And to me, that attitude, all of that, you see all of that? I know it's about R. Kelly thing, but all of that disconnect of respect for me I'm not a younger anymore, yeah? But I am to him. So it's like, I'm a middle person. Terror wrote it on the thing the other day when I wrote that about this. He's like, yo, you and your generation are like you're the bridge between that scene and what came next. Yeah. Because we were the last of it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And then them don't really. They don't really see what happened, and also they were before their time, innit? Yeah. And as you and me was both before our time to an extent. Yeah. And as people before your time, you can't be bitter about it. You got to show love for the next generation and be happy that it's popping still. Because there's always been talent in this city. Yeah. And it's only now it's really getting the recognition it deserves to an extent, you know what I'm saying? Well,
the last 10 years, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and even, I don't know, man. Yeah, for a while now. Because even last time I went to America, there was, like, I went to Oakland, there was fucking Jay Haas, there was bumping bare UK music, and I was just like, oh, this is dope.
Yeah.
There's a lot of music getting love out there.
Of course, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's it's
and
global.
a man like Duke and even the generations just after him, their man would have appreciated that. You know what I'm saying? Like, being able to
no,
be
some of them
stars
did,
in
though.
your
No,
own.
some of them did. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying Rodney P and that, they are called London Pussy because they went and toured America.
And MCD and a lot of people like were loved in America. But I'm just saying, it's just, you know.
Yeah.
Now it's a different level.
Anyway,
Central C could tour America a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, oh no, differently. I'm saying now Central C is a superstar in America right now. And UK drill is now one of the biggest subgenres of hip hop worldwide. Like in America, like their drill in America, New York drill, is modeled on UK drill. And it's the biggest music in American hip hop right now.
The New York
drill sound is probably like it's the biggest new sound in the last couple of years in hip hop, and it is modeled on UK drill. That's a fact. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's crazy. Obviously, it came from Chicago originally, but then the London man started bringing it to life and made their own kind of twist on it with the producers and beats they were using. And now so basically UK hip hop, a form of UK hip hop sound is currently the biggest sound in hip hop in the world. I would say. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? A version of a UK hip hop sound right now is probably the biggest hip hop sound in the world.
Yeah.
And that's mental to even say. So is UK hip hop dead? The hell no.
Nah, Pop Smoke, biggest single before he died, like the popped him was a straight UK drill beat. It's been like that for a while.
Been like that for a while. And they talk about it. You know what I'm saying? They talk about it and they use UK producers and stuff. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's mad.
Yeah. It's wild though, anyway. Because, you know, it's like, it's about, you know, certain men say, the only original UK sound is like grime.
Yeah.
But all the rest of them are kind of biting because UK drill is based on Chicago drill, whereas grime is just based on the UK team.
Yeah, which I agree with.
To an extent, but he's just still rapping on mics, innit?
Yeah.
And then they say, I don't know. But credit where due.
If we brought grime into the conversation, it's mad because I've seen the Is Grime Dead thing with the Az brother. When I'm watching all that conversation's going on as well. But that again is not like, and it made.
Did you hear that single drop the other day, Drill versus Grime?
No, I ain't heard that. Who's it by?
What's the name of the rapper? George, I'm
aware of. I think I interviewed him once. But it's two different George. I don't know which one it is.
Not remembering stuff, being an old man.
Do you know what? There's a couple of more things to cover. We're definitely running into time already. I don't think we're going to cover some of the news stories.
George and Little Sykes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's banger stores.
I'm going to look that up. One other thing. So I mentioned the Chucky Online podcast, right?
With Mark's talking.
With Mark. And this was an interesting point to me. And I wanted to go and pull the data. And I think we should get into this data thing, right?
I'm interested in that because nobody ain't told me nothing. He told me about this list. And I'm like, yo, let me find out certain stuff. He's like, no, I'm going to tell you on the show. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I should have asked you who it was, but I feel like I did tell you already and you're forgetting. And if I ask you on the show, you're probably going to remember. But I'm watching this thing, yeah? They've made their top 20. And they're basing their thing on skills, impact to the scene. There was some violations in it, you know, because it was like personality, yeah? And they were doing it out of 5. They were like, we have 3.5s. And they had 9s in there. And they said, like, for personality, they gave him like a 2 or something. And I was like, and I think it was, I don't know if it was Mark or someone was like, yo, 9s is like hilarious. And it made me go on YouTube and like watch like a 9's funny moments. Like he's one of the funniest people on the earth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like that was a violation.
Like they're messing certain things up. But I'm like, all right, cool. But Kalashnikov's in their list. So there's 2 people from the UK hip hop world in that list, right? One of them being Sway, one of them being Kalashnikov. And that's them, man, based on impact and skills and stuff like that. And Margs came on there and it made me see that divide we're talking about. Because Margs was looking at the list like, why are that man in there? Do you know what I'm saying?
What, Sway and
both of them. He kind of was like, I get Sway, kind of just like, yeah, because he was kind of popping or whatever, but he was questioning that as well and saying to Poet, that's just like a North thing or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, or Poet might be the one that said that. He's like, maybe I'm biased because North. But Sway was huge. Sway bridged all of that gap because he came from our UK hip hop scene. You know what I'm saying? From the scene we came from directly. Because, you know, for anyone who doesn't know that, when me and Ben started rapping as Flip the Script, we first started recording in Task Force's studio for a little while in Highbury Estate. In their house, they had a recording studio set up and they would let us rap on their beats. And Sway would go there on another day. We were there on a Wednesday, Sway's on a Tuesday. I just remember sometimes I'd ask, oh, are you free this day? And they'd be like, oh, that's Sway's day. Yeah, and Sway would sit there making beats on the MPC and stuff like that. And Sway went and did like the battle rap circuit that was around at that time, and he's in a group with Tibbs, who's Mud Family Rap. So Sway is really, really from our world and has branched out into so much more. And then he just kind of fitted into that grime scene and whatever scene.
KSI and a lot of people that's big now straight through Sway.
Through Sway and his business moves and stuff like that. Yeah. Actually, just there's a really good thing on that. Channel U documentary. I don't know if we mentioned the Channel U documentary last time, but there's a documentary on Link Up TV about Channel U, and it shows a bit about Sway and Sincere. And obviously, I know these men to know each other as well, because I know them both with the same circles and that. But people wouldn't have necessarily known this. But they said, they hired a video director for a weekend and split the money in it. They're like, because they're trying to level up. They're like, we want to do videos that are a bit more thing, but it's expensive. So like, if we go halves on the video guy, then he's got the equipment for the weekend hired, then you can shoot your video on Saturday and I'll shoot my video on Sunday. Yeah. And they shot Flow Fashion and That's Not Gangster and split the money. I was like, that's mad. And then they were showing in the documentary that since then, Sincere has gone on to manage Fredo, and Sway went on to A&R, KSI and all these other things. You know what I'm saying? So they've both, two men who just knew each other, both from North, started in the same place and then I've gone on to do these amazing things, you know what I'm saying?
Both them, man.
So like that's cool. But anyway, going back to the list, Marcus is questioning all of these things, but he's mostly questioning Kalashnikov, and he's like, nah man, why is Kalashnikov in your list kind of thing? I don't know if he's bitter because he's not in the list or whatever it is, but he has a moment like, he goes, yeah, it's murder, da, da, da. He's picking up the song and he's like, yeah, but apart from that Channel U1 song, da, 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 like, what does anyone know from Kalashnikov? Nobody knows Kalashnikov. Like, and he goes, I was way bigger than Kalashnikov them times. Like, I was a superstar rapper in my hood, and all of this, yeah? And I was just sitting there thinking, I don't know if it's bias, because I do agree, obviously, that street rap, road rap, UK rap that came later became bigger. But I think them man really underplay the impact of what the biggest artists in that UK hip-hop scene done. And I don't think most of them have done it. I don't think personally there's ever been a time Margs is a bigger rapper than Kalashnikov.
You see what? I can see where Margs is coming from, but he's not taking into account a bunch of stuff. That's why, innit? He's forgetting that Clash of them songs, they was able to tour the world. Like, he was able to go do shows in Australia and do stuff.
Yeah, probably. Europe. I hope so.
Or at least nationally.
Yeah, definitely nationally. I mean, I don't know. I definitely done shows out of England. Like,
but what Marg is thinking about is how the Mashtown mixtape was in every jail in UK. You know what I'm saying? So
maybe he didn't say that specifically, but it might be.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the Mashtown mixtape was popping, and you know what I'm saying? It had like a street platinum, yeah? But Clash murder and all that stuff, it changed the game.
And it's not just one song with Kalashnikov. Like, don't get twisted. That song
but it did change the game. It did change the game. Yeah, like, it changed how people saw what it could be done.
I think Kalashnikov bridged that gap too.
Yeah,
Kalashnikov and Sway. That's why them two people in that list, because they had a different. They weren't like gangster rap music, but there's a definite street element in what they're talking about and where they come from, right? So. They're from this hip-hop scene that's got an infrastructure. Even though it was small, it has an infrastructure. Yeah. There's a few people charting. Roots Maneuver had charted around that time. Blade has charted. So when Kalashnikov had that song...
he don't mean Blade Brown.
Blade, Mark B and Blade. And when Kalashnikov had that song, it was the beginning of Channel U. It was what was going on in hip hop in this country, as in it was still something that was boom bap, that thing, but it reached a new audience, and it opened up so much for people to then go, I'm going to do it on this level, and
it's still a hood classic to now. You put that on, bro. You know what I'm saying? And it's not his only banger, but I'm saying,
and he's done a number of albums since then. Yeah, I remember seeing Kalashnikov do an interview.
His album had a big effect.
Like that album, him and Skinny Man both dropped albums that same year. Yeah. And they both, those things opened doors. 2004, it opened doors ridiculously. And the mad thing is, I actually know Kalashnikov's numbers from sales. Yeah, like they're not insane, but they're they're very good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like especially for the time. And if I'm right about what Skinny's numbers, I think Skinny's is quite a bit more. But like I just know because I was on the same label as Kalashnikov, and my album was coming out a bit later, so I was asking these questions. Innit? I think at one point I said, "What numbers did he do?" Because I'm looking at what if we managed to do what he done, like what can we do, kind of thing. Do you know what I'm saying? And I just don't think. I know that, and this is hard CD sales and vinyl sales.
Yeah.
I just don't think Margs and them like made that number of sales like that to that audience, to a wider audience.
I got
like
the
that.
Match Style mixtape for free.
Yeah. But it was more like that.
Someone just brought it to my cell, you know what I'm saying? Like, yo, you should bump this, man.
Yeah, but
and Margs went hard on that.
Oh yeah, he's hard.
He's
like,
fire.
We know, like, and he was a great rapper. Like, let's not.
But it was a different scene.
And he had a huge impact, and like, I'm sure he's got videos that have got millions of views.
Big one.
Do you know what I'm saying? And he's killing the podcast thing now, whatever. But yeah, I just don't think they respect the actual impact, and they just don't know. I mean, it's because they weren't let into it. Yeah, and it's like it seems like I'm taking the sides on a debate there. But my point was starting this is that shows that divide, didn't it? They didn't even respect what was going on over that scene. And I think even names are thrown out like Just and Rodney P in the mix of like, oh yeah, we know there was that scene, but it wasn't doing what we're doing in the streets. And
reaching out, yeah.
And he did say, he goes, yeah, them man might, he actually, I'm pretty sure he literally says, them man might have like been popping up and down the country here and there and but I was popping in Hackney, and I'm kind of like, yeah, I get your point, but you're not realising the other one's better. You know what I'm saying? Like, the other one's the success. Like, the one who's able to go everywhere, because Kalashnikov is from Hackney or near anyway.
And Kalashnikov was popping in Hackney as well.
Yeah, of course he was. You know what I'm saying? But I
Maybe
get,
not to the same levels,
I get
but
what they're talking about. It's a different,
still,
a different thing. But I'm saying
levels.
Kalashnikov was popping everywhere. So it's like, you're not putting respect on his name and what he done, like, to be saying all of that. So yeah, that hit me in
This is a hard
thinking about this
conversation to have, man. There's so many little blind spots, man. Because even just when you said Hackney, it reminded me of bare rappers.
Yeah. All right, what should we do? I don't know. I'm sure we got more comments we should go to, but maybe we should do that at the end. Should I go into comments about? Let's just look at the comments about this list. Yeah. So I said, I'll remind you, because I said it earlier on, but I said that I was sent a list of the top 500 UK rappers in the country right now, based on their data, based on all streaming data, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, everything, all social media impressions or followers or whatever, all gathered together to create a list of who is like the most popping to the least. And there's 500 names in it. And because there's so many rappers nowadays, I wouldn't have expected many people from our UK hip-hop world to have been in there. But there was more than I thought. I should have made a separate list so that I don't have to scroll through 500 names to work them out, but I'm going to have to, I've got it here on my laptop, I'm going to have to scroll. But the first name I will say that was in there, and then we'll get to some comments, is Skinny Man.
Yeah?
Yeah. So Skinny Man's name was on the list. His number, and I messaged him. I don't know what he said as well, because there were shots in it. But I sent him a voice note going, bro, because it's the maddest part. Skinny's album's not on streaming platforms.
Wow, yeah.
He had it taken
Council
off.
State of Mind on there,
like probably a year ago. So for the last 12 months, and this is something I discovered because I wrote this online. I wrote that Skinny's in there, and I said he's number 498. So he's 2 from the bottom, yeah? But he's in there.
Yeah.
He only released 1 album in his life in 2004, and he's not like, he's popping on Instagram to a degree, but not like every social media. He's not like on every social media platform. So for him to be in that list still now, what nearly 20 years later, next year is going to be the 20th anniversary, is crazy. And he's not on, so like I say, not on. But then what I realized, because I said on here, he's not even on streaming platforms when people were talking about him being in it. And someone was like, yeah, he is. I'm listening to Council State of Mind now on Spotify, and they sent me a screenshot. I was like, what? No, you're not. He's had it taken off. I know he has. And then they realized that they're in Australia. And I'm like, oh. And I don't know if Skinny knows this. I need to hit him up. But he might know already because he had it taken down. But I think he might have only had it taken down in the UK. Which is his main market, so it's still crazy that he's doing numbers, but there's people in Australia, I think, and other places in the world still playing his album.
That's wild. He needs to get the P for that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna hit him about this, but I hit him on a voice now, like, yo, bro, I got this list of 500 rappers, and you're still in it after all these years. And he done, when he done his like funny like American accent, but the voice not back at me, like, yo, son, 500 rappers from the UK, son. He's like, yo, I need to hear all of them. And he said, apart from one, if so and so was in there. And I was like, nah, he's not in there. He went, all 500.
I'm glad you didn't name whoever so and so is. Listen. Yeah, nah, Skinny got a following.
Yeah, it's crazy. But I'm saying, look at all these rappers, and like now, 20 years later, you're still in the top 500. So this has got 190 comments just in talking about this list, man. So I'm gonna look at some of the comments of what people are guessing. So I asked two things.
Even the singles Skinny's featuring on, man, like when you think about it, like he's won some big singles.
Yeah. Well, his music's probably the biggest.
Probably the biggest,
than any features he's done.
I just remember certain features he's on that just like they do numbers.
Darren Tate said, I'm wondering if we're going to see pound sterling in there still, yeah? And this is interesting because that's, I'm gonna now
Is pound sterling in there?
I don't think so, but I'm just going to double check because I can search the list, right? I want to search the word pound. There's someone called Pounds with a Z at the end. I'm presuming.
I know Pounds.
Is that a newer rapper, I'm presuming, yeah?
Nah, he's from the golden era.
I'm saying, so pound sterling is not
Hunt's
in there.
golden era.
Okay. Or has he been on there, yeah?
No, I just mean he's from that era.
All right, so I'm searching. This is what I'm saying, yeah? Because I'm like, these, like, the UK road thing, and I get it.
Pounds is fire, though.
We started this conversation showing respect to them and have done the road rappers that came later, yeah, and how they weren't let in, and that actually it's wrong, you know what I'm saying? And I love some of them rappers way more than I love some of the UK hip-hop rappers or whatever, but at the same time, so I get why they have an attitude towards it, yeah, towards that UK hip-hop scene. But I was just noticing, I'm like, actually, some of them man are not in this list. And some of the man that came before that we kind of brushed off like them man are irrelevant. Because there is a narrative that's come at a point, them man are irrelevant. And I get it, it's their own fault. You know what I'm saying? Or when we're addressing is UK, what did it? Sometimes some of them, it's their own fault because they didn't make the right connections. Not Clash, I don't think he's a good example of that. Because Clash, as someone from that world, he did make the effort to connect with both worlds. He's got songs with Rich and whatever like that. And also he did try to make a group and a movement and put new people on where some people didn't do that. You know what I'm saying? I would say Clash and Skinny are two of the main people that tried to do that and tried to like build something further. You know what I'm saying? Man. So I give him them ratings. But I just think it's mad that some of them rappers that came out then, the road rappers, and it's not their fault because they weren't given the right infrastructure as well. We're acknowledging that. But some of them, if they're going to be dismissive of Clash and certain rappers, it's interesting to see. Like Margs or Clash are not in this list, but Margs, it's just interesting. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them, Pound Sterling, whatever, they're not in this list. The ones that are, there's plenty from that world. Don't get me wrong, but they're the ones that carried on to a certain time. So anyway, Cy Philly said, I don't know why they don't just put that list out with Chester P, Jess, Black Twang and Roots Maneuver on it and be done. But I think he was talking about who he feels is like the best. I said. And then there was a couple of points made about that. And people were asking me, is it this person, is it that person from that list? I said to them, only one of the people in that list, only one person in that list is in there. So I guess you can guess who that is. Chester P, Jess, Black Twang or Roots Maneuver.
Roots Maneuver.
So yeah, Roots Maneuver is in there. Loads of people guessed that Roots Maneuver is going to be the highest person. Now, so remember, I said, who is the highest rating person from this UK hip-hop world? Obviously, I am making up the criteria in my head as I choose. So this is not like, take this with a pinch of salt, because there's loads of people in this list. I said before off camera, maybe Charlie Sloth counts because he kind of dipped into that scene and he made a whole album with loads of us. So Charlie Sloth is obviously high in this list. But again, pinch of salt, Charlie Sloth is probably in there for not rapping, but for like things with his name, producing, DJ interviews, like Fire in the Booth, stuff like that. So obviously Charlie Sloth is high in the list. So I'm not counting him. Bruce Maneuver is in the list. He's second. My criteria of who I have decided counts, yeah, because I run this thing, yeah. And Bruce Maneuver is second. And it's, nobody. Literally, there's 190 comments here. Literally not one person mentioned the highest. Let's read out some more comments before I get to it.
I know who it is.
Because I told you, remember? I told you that.
Yeah. But I guessed it, though.
Do you know there's a weird thing, though?
I guessed it. Do you remember that?
Did you?
Yeah, I guessed it. I'm the only person. You said I'm the only person that guessed it.
Did you guess that they was the top, or you were just guessing that they were in the list?
That they were top.
Oh, wow.
That was my guess.
But the mad thing is, there is one thing. They are in the list, so we can't say anything about it. There's one side where it's like, are they UK hip hop?
Yeah.
They are. They are, though. Don't get me wrong. I'm saying they are. When we say who it is, we'll discuss it. Right? Okay. So there's some more comments. I want to find some interesting ones. Have you not got it?
Which comment are you reading from?
I'm reading from the one that says, I've got a list of 500 thing. Someone said Black Twang. I'm pretty sure Black Twang is not in the list. I would have understood if Black Twang was in the list. Black Twang has some hits.
It's Estelle.
Estelle is not in the list, but I don't think Estelle is listed as hip hop. That was mentioned in the comments.
That's wild.
Because Estelle became more of a singer. You know what I'm saying? Someone, Leon Don Kofi said Skinny Man got to be in there. We've addressed that. So Flo
PJ and Duncan.
Someone said
Jack
Flo Lucifer said my assumption would be Roots Maneuver or Pro Green. I can see Jen doing pretty well too. He's one of the most currently active in that era. I think Jen's not in the list, but I think I wouldn't have been surprised if he was either, because I think he posted something today about having like 80,000 monthly listeners on Spotify or something. His thing's popping.
Rob Picton said MC Duke.
and I started laughing like, yo, I'm not. Someone was mocking Duke on there, and I said, no, I'm not going to mock him for not being in this list or not being. I'm not in it. You know what I'm saying? But I respect.
Hey, these people are crazy. They got the Brotherhood in there.
No, but remember the Brotherhood was signed to Virgin. Like, they did bits.
No, they're huge, man. Shout out to man like Spice. I see him regularly.
Pro Green is also in this list high somewhere, and he's also someone I'm saying that doesn't count, because I think he became a pop star. It came off the back of Mike Skinner and that. It came off the back of Jump Off, which wasn't quite just the UK hip hop scene. That's a crossover. He's another crossover area. So I'm not counting Professor Green.
Are any of them high focus man in there?
There are high focus men in there. They're not.
What about
they're not
Flip
at the top.
I
think Flip Tricks is in there. Let's discuss that, eh?
Loyal Kana.
Flip Tricks is number 449.
Flip Tricks is above Skinny Man, yeah?
Yeah. I think Verb T is in it as well. Let's have a look. Verb T is number 450. Right, I searched his name and he was two places down. I could have just looked.
Zuby.
4 Hours. I'm sure 4 Hours are in here.
Yeah, check 4 Hours.
As a group. The 4 Hours are number 295.
295? What's Verb T alone?
He was 450. He was two places below Flip Tricks. So that's two members of the 4 Hours. I don't know if the rest of them are in there. Can't remember all their names. Is it BVA?
Mike Mix says if Richard Blackwood isn't on it, I won't take it seriously.
Let's see. I just thought of someone.
Mama used to say,
I just thought of someone. Mike Righteous. Mike Righteous is number 400 and Mike Righteous is number 418. Funky DL is number 416. That's what I'm saying. That's what we're talking about. Funky DL
still
Funky DL to this day is in the top 500 rappers by data in this country, and he's from our world, but he had his own thing.
What number's Jest?
Jest is not in the list.
What number's Task Force?
Task Force is not in the list.
Whoa!
But remember these people, yeah.
That's wild.
Remember most of Task Force albums were never officially released. They were like CD only. I think they're on like Bandcamp from their own websites, and they're not out there like that. You know what I'm saying? They're really music from the corner.
What about Big P, Scheme, any of them man there? 57th Dynasty, any of them man there?
No. None of that. You know what I'm saying? Because even Black Twang's not in there.
That's wild.
All right, let's look at what number Roots Maneuver is.
Ty must be in there.
Ty's not in there.
Wow.
There's another one called Ty. There's a couple other Ties still. There's a couple of different Ties, isn't it? Dirty Dak. That came up from me searching Ty, but 384 is Dirty Dak.
Any of them blonde man, I can't remember their bloody names.
Milcavelli's in here.
What about Sonny Jim?
Milcavelli is number 496. I don't think Sonny Jim is in here, but let's shout out Sonny Jim because he's a rapper who was from that world, who has reached some another scene, and he's just killing it, man. You know what I'm saying? I'm loving what he's doing. I've been listening to his new stuff recently. Sway is number 464, so like not super high up.
I like the 400, you know. It's a good list.
Yeah, it's a good. So I'm just scrolling up now. Yeah.
What about Rodney P?
Rodney P is not in the list. Rodney P is not in the list. And
where's Kano?
Where, yeah, like, so when you look at them kind of rappers,
the rappers like
Kano is number 98.
Okay.
Did you already guess the top? Did we do this? We were talking about who the top ones are.
No, I ain't guessed the top.
Well, let's go to the comments though, man. Let's let the people guess.
You know what I'm
saying? Like, so I addressed the Professor Greens in there. Someone said, Jamie Baldwin said, Giggs is not from that scene, more from the road rap scene, but he's got to be there. I'm actually surprised Giggs isn't higher in this list. Let's look
what
what
number is
Giggs. 67.
67, yeah.
I should have been 67 at 67. Someone said, I'm thinking about Jest. He had a new album out recently, so we'll be getting new streams, but he's not. And let me just say this. Is UK hip-hop dead? Like that sound and that era, that Jest album makes me say no. That album's incredible.
Banging.
Have I told you that?
No.
It's great.
What number?
But you know what? 279 might not have played it.
Because he's singing all over the place.
He's singing. He just himself is singing like melodic hooks. I don't know if he's done that before. I haven't I've listened to all his albums, but I've not like rinsed them all. But I don't remember him doing melodic hooks like as much as like the way I'm hearing on this album. And then the singers in the background. Like I'm just like, obviously I've always been a fan of Just, like, especially in the beginning. But to me, I think this might be his best album.
Wow.
Like, at least since High Plains, like the first one, to me, like I've been driving around bumping it. It's a great piece of work. Go and listen to it.
What number is Tion Wayne?
He's got to be high up. You know what I'm saying? Because he's one of the biggest charters, man. He's number 8, so he's top 10. Do you want to try and guess the rest of the top 10?
Yeah. Russ, H, RD.
H is in there. Russ is not. He's got to be in the top 20 though. Yeah, he's 12.
RD. No.
RD's got to be in there somewhere, innit? Let's just search that one.
Hold on.
Am I spelling his name wrong?
Fredo,
How do I spell RD?
Fredo,
he's 17, so he's top 20.
Fredo, Dave, Stormzy.
Fredo.
Nines.
Fredo's 23. He's not.
Wow.
I think J Hus is quite low, but J Hus ain't dropped nothing like
for a time
in the last 12 months. But J Hus is 21. Little Sims is number 19. Little Sims, we have to give her the highest as doing that hip hop sound. Yeah. Whether they were around back then, like yo,
she really.
And her name gets mentioned loads.
Her and Inflow really be keeping it to the boom bap.
So we had a comment from Nubia Allison, and I'm guessing if it's the last 12 months, it's going to be someone like H or some foolishness because of those meaningless definitions. Is that a word? I don't know what that means. Of what constitutes
definitions. That's not a word, my
definitions.
brother.
I think I was going to say definitions. Yeah, because of those meaningless. I think it's supposed to be something to do with the definitions of what constitutes hip hop.
All right, so before we go to the number one list, what's the highest? You gotta tell us what's the highest UK hip hop one.
Foreign Beggars, and let's find out where they are.
Big up, man, like Pav.
And I wanted to go and get so they're number 218, yeah. And like I say, there's some people over them that might make that hip hop sound, but I was just trying to look at who from that world is still here, yeah. They're doing more numbers than Roots Maneuver to this day. And the reason I said maybe they're not, some people might say they're not UK hip hop because none of them are British. Do you know what I'm saying? They're not from here. Do you know what I'm saying? But they're in the list. So they've already been classified as a UK group in this list by the data. So we can't tell them that's not true. And there is no way on earth you could tell me that Foreign Beggars are not a UK hip hop group because I listen to Pav.
I'm not British.
Yeah, but they weren't born here, none of them, I don't think. Do you know what I'm saying?
That don't mean nothing.
And they came here older. Do you know what I'm saying? I probably spoke to Pav about this over the years, that he's told me a story, but we were probably drinking and I don't remember, you know what I'm saying? But like, I listened to him on the Rare Kind Daz's podcast, yeah? Ep02, I think it's called. And I've heard him tell his story to Daz, like, in a way I've never heard it before. And it was really interesting to listen to. And it was like, he was growing up, I can't remember where was he in Dubai? He's been a few places, yeah, but he's growing up somewhere else. And he'd got this Mud Fam tape. like he's got this UK hip hop tape, maybe from the front of a Hip Hop Connection, or he'd got this Mud Fam tape, and then he started hearing. I think he said Mud Fam first, and then he started hearing other UK hip hop, and he's listing all these artists, and like he's learning English at school and all of that, and he was talking about like that was the hip hop he heard, I think, first to be maybe more than American. Don't quote me, you know what I'm saying, but he said he heard that kind of stuff and got really into it. So then he decided to move here and like do this hip hop thing. I'm saying because he was inspired, and then he met Dag Nabbit somewhere else. I think they both moved to like Norway or something. They met each other in another country they moved to first, and then they moved here together, kind of to do this hip hop thing. And they were already fans of this scene, and they literally just came here and found it and joined it, and became the biggest thing in it.
That's wild.
Crazy, right? And I get why they're at the top. Because they did branch out of the UK hip hop world as well, don't get me wrong.
It's not just because we're on their first album.
Yeah, it might be because we're on the first album and first mixtape. It might be. So I'm saying, so that's nice. Do you know what I'm saying? Them numbers, that's why I still get PRS checks from these lot. You know what I'm saying? Because them numbers there, like we're in them numbers. You
don't keep listening to the beggars, the foreign beggars, they go hard. Also, you know what? They're dope live. They're really about this music. They really care about just making music. They like making music, and they like making it musical. You know what I'm saying?
But I'm saying they branched out. That
type of shit lost.
They hit into like dubstep, drum and bass. Like they started merging,
that's
but
due to their love of music, like musicality of it. Even the studio sessions with them back in the day, and then when we used to go live, they used to have so much stuff going on in their live show.
Yeah. Oh, amazing. Yeah. So big them up, man. R.I.P. Metropolis, of course. You know what I'm saying?
R.I.P. Metropolis.
That's what I'm saying, because
he was good people.
Good people, and they created a great legacy. I don't know what he's gonna. Like, Pavan's been doing this solo thing now, and I don't know. I've seen him start.
Pavan's videos are so fire.
They are fire. You know what I'm saying? But I've seen him using the Foreign Beggars pages and name a bit more. I don't know if he's gonna start using that again a bit more. But and they've got a clothing label out at the moment called Foreign, isn't it? It looks dope as well. I've been seeing the drops, thinking to like order something.
I ain't seen it.
Yeah, no, it's hard, man. So he's they stayed active for so long, and they just got somebody, and then that kind of show, like you said, Skinny Man features. Skinny's on one of their biggest records. Biggest mistake of my career, because I was supposed to feature on that record too, and I just didn't do a verse.
Yeah, no with your teeth to beat.
Yeah, I tried to teeth the beat. I was like, oh, can I just have? I wrote my own hook. Everything. I was like, nah, let me just have this beat. I want it on my album. And it was just like, nah. Oh, man.
All right. There's the other question: who's killing in UK hip hop right now? Did we do that one?
We did, but did we cover the top of this list? We kind of covered it.
So who's number 1 and number 2 and number 3? Who's the top 5?
All right. So the top 5. You said it off camera when you guessed it.
Let's go to number 5. And
you want to go to number 5 first?
5 down, yeah.
You haven't guessed number 5 yet. I haven't told you number 5. So give me one more. Give me one more that you ain't said. I'm going to give you a clue. It's a group.
Oh, it's a group. That has not helped at all. I can't even think of like UK rap groups. It's going to be better obvious when you say it. Just say it, because I can't think of it.
D-Block Europe.
Oh.
And that's crazy as well, because
they're not signed, and they're because they're not like a signed group.
Yeah. Well, they're signed to D-Block in some kind of way, but yeah.
Yeah, but they do it themselves.
Yeah, so D-Block Europe, and I saw them, they sold out like some crazy, they did Ali Pali 2 nights in a row, and then I think they did the O2. There was one of the early ones for me to, because I was watching the venues them times and trying to put on nights, trying to put on concerts. So I was watching who's doing the big venues and what's the capacity, and yeah, they did that.
Them man created their own movement, man. I respect that shit so hard.
And then H, which I think you mentioned, is number 4. Mm-hmm. Stormzy number 3.
Okay.
Dave number 2.
Okay.
I was shocked that Dave is above Stormzy.
I don't know, man. I prefer Dave's last project to Stormzy's last project.
Stormzy is like our biggest star, like, and I think part of it might come into not being on social media, but Dave's not really like. It's crazy. Dave's on Twitter and all of that.
But just having
the amount of followers he's got, having an account probably puts his numbers up.
Yeah, just having an account makes you more likely to just. You know
yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Stormzy's there number 3. He might be number 1 if he had an Insta, TikTok, and a Twitter, he would be number 1. Yeah, it's true. It's true. He's our biggest star I think we've ever had. I don't think you can really argue that. But then number 1 is Central C, which I think we've mentioned.
Yeah, that makes sense. Central C is like worldwide. Like he's a proper export, right?
And that is because it is the last 12 months. So his numbers in the last 12 months, that hit that he had.
Doja
No, I was gonna say the lyrics because I know the lyrics more than I know the name, but
his tune homophobic.
Yeah, it'll probably cut off our monetization for saying the lyrics. But yeah, that song just got so huge. I saw a thing when we was the whole Chris Brown stuff, what we was talking about last week. Yeah. I saw a footage of Chris Brown just in a nightclub in London, and he's just looking at his phone and he's just dancing in the nightclub, and that song is on, and he's saying every lyric. Right. Like he's just listening to and he knows every word, and he's just bubbling in a London club. You know what I'm saying? He didn't come here and learn that. You know what I'm saying? He heard that before he came.
What number a man like from the road rap like Pot of Paper?
He's got to be in there, innit?
Buck. What number is Gigs?
Potter is 75. I said Gigs before, and I was surprised. Oh, he was 67.
Young Tef, Blade Brown, the man on it.
I said Blade Brown.
You said Blade Brown.
Young Tef is 233. So it's like these kind of men are in the 200s, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Where it's like them UK hip hop man are in, and High Focus are in the like 400s. Apart from Foreign Beggars and Roots Maneuver, Roots Maneuver, like he had some hits, man. You know what I'm saying? Like Witness to Fitness and then Dreamy Days, and he reached the audience like beyond. So really, just going back to our question, yeah, is UK hip hop dead? And looking at this data, hell no. You know what I'm saying? Like that's crazy. Like even just on the layer of asking, is that scene that I'm saying died with Kung Fu dead? It's not. If still to this day, Roots Maneuver is the and Foreign Beggars are like the 200 and something biggest rapper in the country, and Skinny Man's still the top 500 rapper in the country, nah, then it's still, the impact is still there, and it's still, you know what I'm saying? No, even like the pop kind of, let me see, where's N-Dubs? 137.
Bloody hell. Is Dappy on there separately from
Yeah,
N-Dubs?
that's what I was just thinking. You think it's higher or lower?
Lower.
It's higher.
Yeah.
It's 90, but I get it because it's more current. Like even they had their moment the other day. I would have thought maybe the tour and the new record might have pushed him over, but nah, like it didn't.
And he's got hits.
He's just got hits,
solo hits,
you know what I'm saying? Like, and he's put out newer records like in that time. He's been dropping. He dropped a video like of what that he shot on the N-Dubs tour, but it's a solo video.
What's C-Biz?
Yeah, I did see him on there.
Is Spray on there?
No, Spray's not on there, I don't think. C-Biz is 456. Let's just double check these others. No Spray. What was the other one you just asked?
I don't remember.
Never mind. I'm saying let's leave.
What about Steph London?
Oh yeah, she's in the top 10, man.
Top 10?
I think she's 6. Yeah, she was 6. So the rest of the top 10, after we said the other, I'll say it the other way around. So 6, Steph London. 7, Skepta. There's a wild one in here. It's mad that it's in here. 6, Steph London. 7, Skepta. 8, Tion Wayne. 9, MF Doom.
MF Doom?
Yeah.
Because he's British?
Yeah.
That's wild.
He is, though.
That's so wild.
You know what I'm saying? They ain't put Slick Rick in it though, so it's a bit mad. But he was
I'm saying like if he's so Slick Rick and money love.
But he was living here and that not that long before he died and that. And then
what is J Electronica as well? Just joking.
Number 10, I don't even know who that is. Scarlord. Is that the person we were talking about before? Like Scarlord with a X instead of a O. I don't even know who that is.
I don't know who that is.
And the next one's a wild card. MIA. So I'm saying, like, take this, let's do a pinch of salt, whatever, because it's whoever's put themselves forward as hip hop, and some of them are DJs and stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? But
yeah, shout out to all MIA verses.
MIA is hard though.
She's fire.
All right.
Yeah,
I think we've crowned Foreign Beggars the kings of the traditional original UK hip hop scene,
and not just because we're on their first album and mixtape.
Yeah, we're not biased.
Can we like them? Not just back in North. It feels like we're just back in North right now.
Yeah, because the man lived in North for quite a while still. Oh my God, Terror Slim's tagged me in a post. I'm looking at. I don't know if I should do this in the middle of the podcast.
You should probably read it before the show ends. It'd be hilarious. Shout out to Terror Slim.
No, he just said, whenever Terror Slim tags me inside, I don't know if it's going to be war. Wait, we have been having war.
Terror Slim is my favourite thing about Facebook, I got to say that. I probably would have left the app if it weren't for my girl.
He said, I totally reject the broke truth of victim ideology. This is one thing me and Novar FLIP have in common. I never said that I feel that way. But anyway,
broke what?
Broke truther victim mentality. I've never said that. I tell him, yeah, there's a whole different debate, but because he's got this whole thing about the truther scene, yeah, which he's seen as part of.
Well, like
people who are like,
oh, okay, yeah,
exposing the truth, and he's now like calling all them people out. All I've said is the people you talk to on your page and who seem to be in that world that you talk to, they're all racist. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not really cool with them people. So I the only time I ever tell someone I'm not down with a victim mentality, because that's what the people use who are against equality movements often say, they're playing victim, women are playing victim, black people are playing victim. So I am only calling out white people playing victim. I never called out no truthers playing victim. I called out white people playing victim. So them idiots. So
we have to discuss that with Terra. Bring him on the next show.
We'll have to call him one time, innit?
We actually have to call him. Who else was we gonna holler at?
I wanted to holler at Pavan and get him to say something about that, but I just didn't get around to it. There's other things I wanted us to discuss, but I think I guess we're coming towards an end. I don't know if there's things we haven't said that we need to cover.
So I will say that
other
next
than
time.
news stories.
What is there anything from last show that we didn't mention?
Nah. Anyway, all right, so we wrap it up?
Wrap it up.
No, there was 3 stories that we're going to cover, but I think it's a myth. Let's wrap it up. Basically, we're now on all platforms. I've also done something on YouTube, so youtube.com/FlipLifeMedia, or you can go to fliplife.co.uk and it will take you there. But eventually we'll have an actual website that is separate on that address. I turned on like the thing for people to join a membership. We're going to start a Patreon at some point, but you can also do it directly through YouTube. So I just turned it on yesterday. We haven't put much features in there, so you can now become a member though. So I just thought we might as well have it on than not. But it's like $4.99. I say it as you can become a Flip Life subscription member, and we will shout out your name in the video, and you get these top.
Will shout out your name.
Top. Now I'm going to make sure Ben specifically.
You got to pay more for me to do it. You got to pay a couple pounds more if you want me to do.
And the features of it at the moment are simple because I'm just turning it on. I'm not expecting people to go crazy. I'm just letting people know it's there. But you get some kind of badges that show you're part of the membership. You will eventually. I'm going to turn on a feature that means you will get our video before everyone else. But I don't want to do that straight away until we've really worked it out. But I think eventually we will start putting out these podcasts like a few days early just for the members. Yeah. So you can do that. Also, there's something called a super like, where you can just click on it and give us money. It guys are options. It says you can give $1.99 for it goes up to $49.99. So if anyone out there, there should be a button on this video. You can click super.
I only shout out for $49.99. Like if you want to shout out for me personally, you want me to say your name, write a comment. Or just shout me out.
That's called a super thanks. It's not. This ain't a subscription thing.
No, I know.
It's like a super thanks. You click on the button. It should be there on the video somewhere. You can click the button and just give us $49.99 if you want. Or you can set your own amount, but it's easy. If you only want to click twice, just go click. Give us a $49.99. We'd appreciate it. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, we show love. We show real love. We'll say something. We'll big you up. We'll make you feel like the man or the woman for the day.
You know what I'm saying?
Like we'll say something. One thing. Don't overcharge. You get me?
Episode 2, man. We
done.